Hey, what's up, MotoAmerica fans? It's Josh Herron. Make sure you subscribe to the MotoAmerica YouTube channel to see all the up-to-date content. Like and subscribe. Don't forget my channel, too.
Excitement is at an all-time high for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship from VIRginia International Raceway in Alton, Virginia. It's round 2 of 9 for 2021 MotoAmerica Superbikes at Virginia. After 15 seasons and 29 Superbike races at VIR, 2020 was a no-go. But now, the riders are back, and every competitor is looking for their first Superbike win at this storied track. Matthew Skoltz and Jake Gagne traded checkered flags in round 1 at Road Atlanta. Who gets the upper hand in Virginia? We find out right now on FS2. A spectacular day for HONOS Superbike racing here at VIRginia International Raceway as clouds have started to roll in a little bit. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HONOS Superbike Show. I'm Greg White, joined by Jason Pridmore, two-time champion. Now, Jason, this is exciting because we have seen Jake Gagne break a track record already, but of course, at the beginning of the season, we saw 2 wins being traded, Matthew Skoltz and Jake Gagne.
Yeah, but so far, with that motor blow at race 1 in Atlanta, Jake Gagne's been fast in every single session. He had a little bit of unluckiness there, but he goes on and wins the second race. Here at VIR, Greg, he's picked up right where he left off. He's been quickest all weekend long. This morning, his first flying lap here was a 25 flat. Now, keep in mind, he ended up going 23.5, but I'm talking right out of the trailer, 25 flat this morning. And you can see some of the highlights here. Matthew Skoltz won race 1 down there in Atlanta, and as they rolled over onto race 2, Gagne looked like he was going to be the guy to beat along with Matthew. Bobby Fong had an early challenge at the beginning. He came in for a stop and go from a rolling start, and Jake Gagne took the lead, never looked back, was able to pull away for a big victory there. And unfortunately, Loris Baz didn't get a finish in either one. He is qualified second today.
Look inside the numbers at these 2 riders, round 1 at Atlanta. You can see that Matthew Skoltz won by 3 seconds, and then Jake Gagne was able to win by 4.7 seconds. 3 Superbike wins to 1. All right, with that, let's get right down to Hannah Lopa, who's on the starting grid. Hi, Hannah.
Greg, Warhorse HSBK Ducati's rider Loris Baz made his MotoAmerica debut last round at Road Atlanta, but it didn't go quite to plan. After a mistake in the first race and a mechanical taking him out of the second race, he walked away from that round with no points. Loris, what is your plan today to maximize points for this race to get on the score on the leaderboard?
Well, the plan's always the same. You know, when you start a race, you want to win it, and I know Jake have a really strong pace here, so just gonna try to stay behind him as long as I can, and I know how strong part of the race is the last 5 laps. Usually we're really strong, and we have to manage the tire the best possible. The drop is much bigger here than Atlanta, so we try for it. I'm really happy to be racing again.
Best of luck out there, Loris. Let's get over to Jamie Howe.
Hannah, despite Josh Herron being able to bring home a pair of podium finishes in his first race back with the fresh and lean Attack Performance Yamaha team, there was too big of a gap for his liking. But for you, Josh, you've been able to close that gap up a little bit this weekend. What's made the biggest difference for you?
This weekend we've really worked a lot on just getting me comfortable on the bike. I finally feel like, I hate to, you know, Rich is always trying to get me not to think about the past, but I'm trying to get that comfortable feeling that we had in 2018. That was the best bike I'd ever ridden. And I feel like we're as close as we're going to get to that right now. Now it's just me having the confidence and knowing that I have the best bike on the grid and taking advantage of it. So we've been working really hard. We got a bike that I'm comfortable with right now. I'm positive for the race. It's going to be a hot one, but I've been working hard back at the gym. So hopefully we're strong at the end of the race and give these guys a run for their money.
Good luck.
All right, so Josh Herron focused right now. It should be an entertaining race around VIRginia International Raceway. Jason, quickly take us through it.
Yeah, all the action's going to happen down in turn 1, Greg. A lot of drafting going on. Turn 2 to 3 is a little bit tricky with a back shift into second. We'll talk about that during the telecast. Down turn 7 will be your next passing spot, really. Then you're going to go up along a ridge to turn 10. It's all back downhill. Very technical is VIR, especially coming back onto this front straightaway. Want to get the best drive you can there. You can see that start-finish line looming.
All right, and now to Roger Hayden, who has our Ducati Fast Lap, an onboard look at this racetrack.
Hey, I'm on board the Ducati V4R. Let's look at some passing zones here at VIR. Starting with turn 1, the hardest braking corner we have in this track. You'll see a lot of guys braking deep into this corner, trying to make the pass. and then also turn 14, a really tricky, tight right-hand corner. You have to be really aggressive to make this pass, but you'll see a lot of guys going for it. And then the last corner, turn 17, a really fast right-hander which leads onto the front straightaway. And it's so important to get a drive out of there, to get in a draft, to try to make a pass before the finish line.
All right. Thanks, Roger. We are 5 minutes away from getting this race started. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Today's Superbike coverage is sponsored by HONOS, the apparel brand promoting talent within the adrenaline sports realm. And in part by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
I like how he said, thanks, Roger. I want to thank you for showing me the fast way around that track. And what did it feel like to get back out there at VIR?
It was fun. I just kind of forget how fast some of these bikes come up here. So it was fun. Get to do a couple laps on a Ducati. I've never really rode a Ducati before, and it's such a man. What a nice bike that is, and like it's really fast. And
it's got some giddy up, doesn't it, for a stalker?
At RoadAmerica, I know I'm only supposed to do a couple laps, but I might not come in at that place because it's those long straightaways.
You can open her up just a little bit. Yeah, we know it's going to be fast, and we know. You know, all of these guys in the HONOS Superbike are going to be fast. Can we see the Westby Yamaha? Can we see him to keep up that momentum and just keep doing what he's doing? You know, you see the umbrella's out right now. It is not as sunny as it was earlier, maybe hotter, but for some reason the clouds are rolling in. I looked at you just a moment ago. I said, let's just hope we don't have rain. You said, I wouldn't doubt it. Let's find out from Jason Wygand how it feels down trackside.
Thanks, Robbie. It's about 41. They always measure in Celsius here, and it got to about 43 before, so the cloud cover has made a little difference. It's all within the window. It's not going to have a massive impact on the motorcycles from where they were, but we thought this morning it would just continue to climb. Because of these clouds that have been here, it's actually gone down just slightly, so a little bit of rest for the weary here without the bright sunshine.
Yeah, and that 41 is Celsius. I think it adds up to about 111 degrees. But, yeah, it's odd. And, you know, you're from Kentucky. I'm in Texas. Sometimes on those hot days you get those heat showers at the end of the day. I'm like, Lord, let's hope nothing like that pops up.
Well, I've seen it here before, but, you know, I think today we're going to be in the clear, and it's going to be a good race. It's got a lot of guys are really close in the lap times, and, you know, it looks like Jake Gagne is, you know, the most impressive thing I've seen from him this weekend was his very first lap this morning was a 24.0, which was a race track record. And on his first flying lap, that just shows you how good he's feeling here. Also, Matthew Skoltz has been fast all weekend and consistent, and all these other guys looks like they're getting a lot closer to them, and it's gonna be a good race.
Well, you saw, or Jason was talking about that track temperature and how it affects. These guys are all on Dunlop tires. They're all Dunlop shod, but which tires they choose. You see the green banding on the rear? It looks like everybody's on that extra soft rear, but the front, a little bit different, more rider preference. I'm seeing Gagne on the extra soft front. I'm seeing Loris Baz on the soft front, and I'm seeing Matthew Skoltz on the super soft front. So the front row has 3 different front tires. How's that going to play a factor in this race?
And that just goes on to feeling, you know, what you like to feel in your hands. Some riders like a soft tire, some guys like a little stiffer one. It's just whatever makes you comfortable, you know, and they do so many laps here. They know if the tire is going to be able to go the distance or not, and, you know, we don't really ever have many problems with the front tire, and it's just about feel.
You pointed out Danilo Lewis had a big crash earlier in qualifying. It looks like he's back out there, and it's good to see that. So again, this will be a 20-lap race, the HONOS Superbikes. Jake Gagne winning the second race. Matthew Skoltz winning the first race of the year. And Matthew Skoltz is our series points leader. But it is going to be a tight battle. Loris Baz looking for his first points of the season. He's fast. He's up front. He's starting second in this one, right between Jake Gagne and Matthew Skoltz. Now it's up to the racing. Qualifying is done. It's in the racer's hand. Let's find out who's going to win race number 3 and the first one here at VIR.
How about this? Josh Herrin, earlier this year, Guinness Book World Record for longest elbow drag. That was December 4th, 2020, but you know what I mean, Jason.
A little bit ago, yeah.
Yeah. At Button Willow. Congratulations to Josh Herron. Look at that thing just going and going and going. Here's your starting grid. Jake Gagne with a new outright lap record around VIR at a 1:23.594, sits on pole.
But look how close everything is, Greg. Loris Baz is second, Schulte third. Herron, Cam Peterson looking great. Bobby Fong just outside row 2. Then we got Kyle Wyman, Hector Barbara, David Anthony made an improvement this morning. Jake Lewis, Corey Alexander, and Jeff May. A couple of our Superbike Cup competitors there. Max Flinders, Michael Gilbert, Travis Wyman. Dental Little Lewis, Ashton Yates, Jason Uribe round out row 6. A little further back, Andrew Lee, Hunter Dunham, Gerardo, and then Ferris, Coffey, and Giannato on row 8. And just a little further back, Jeffrey Perk and Matthew Kuna.
Some of our Superbike Cup riders on stock thousands had a great battle earlier today.
Turn 1 here is a place where you can see a lot of bikes just getting bunched up. So you got to really make sure that if you get a good start, you protect that tight line going in there so that you don't have a bunch of people trying to run up underneath you there. So it's going to be really interesting to see front row who's going to get the start here, Greg.
Yeah, Jake Gagne told me he definitely doesn't want to leave the door open in turn 1 on the first lap. Gagne wants to lead this thing so he can dictate the pace. Revs are up. It's time to get going. HONOS Superbike, race number 1 from VIR. And away we go. Gagne with a P1. Baz looks like he's going to get swallowed up by a couple bikes.
Swallowed up bad. Herron got a good jump. He's going to jump up into, what is it?
Schulte deep. Very deep is the Westby Racing Yamaha, but he gathers it back up. No drama, and that gets him to second spot. As they feed on the gas, you can see that these tires are trying to find that mechanical grip side by side underneath Baz.
Cam Peterson looks like he just goes up underneath Baz. As Bobby Fong, also a great start from row 2. So 2 guys coming from the second row, both Bobby Fong and Herron slot into 3rd and 4th. And Baz gets shuffled backwards a little bit, but Gagne got the start he needed, Greg.
So it is Jake Gagne who has been ripping straight away. Bike's been feeling good. His second year on this team. Second year on this motorcycle, things really starting to come good for him. And Matthew Schulte on that Westby Racing Yamaha, a rider that we expected to see make a step this year, and he has definitely done it. So Gagne, talking about the way this Yamaha works with him, it's just all about getting out front and setting the pace. Doing the lap time that he wants to do in the way that he needs to do it. The way that you do a lap time on a Yamaha isn't necessarily exactly the way you do it on an M4 X-Star Suzuki or a Ducati.
Well, right now, Josh Herron is in the draft of Bobby Fong as they come out of that last corner. He's going to want to try to do something with Bobby at the end of the straightaway. Let's see if he's able to go up underneath. You can see he's going to leave his brake in a little bit later than Bobby. He's going to make that pass to go in turn 1. Is he going to be able to get it turned? He is. So Josh Herron moves himself up. Bobby Fong trying to squeeze back underneath, and he's able to do so.
Incredible as Bobby Fong finds a little bit of daylight and takes advantage of it. Josh Herron deep into turn 1. Is Herron going to try to fight right back? The one thing that's really strong about Josh Herron on that Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha is if he can get on the back of someone, he's really good at matching the pace. So I think for him, he doesn't want to let Matthew Schulte get away too far down the road. But Fong's starting to pick some stuff up. A little bit of dust in the background.
Yep, those
just
guys are running over some curbings back there. You can see the dust get kicked up, but you're exactly right. Josh Herron, especially on new tires, is usually very aggressive, very fast. So we kind of have grown to expect that from him. A little bit further back here, Baz did not get the start he wants. And you see that Ducati running wide a little bit, Greg. I've seen that quite a bit this weekend where the bike just runs out a little bit on him. But, full tank of fuel right now. That Ducati as well, obviously, as everybody. But it just seems like there's been times this weekend when I've gone to specific spots on the track where I see that bike running wide a little bit in some spots.
For Matthew Schulte, you saw him jump up to that second place position. He was struggling under mid-corner speed throughout the weekend. He felt like he was really good when it came to braking, but he needed to pick up a little bit. The team made the decision to go to a super soft tire. He's the only one of the front runners using that super soft right now. They feel like the advantage of it outweighs the disadvantage. It's going to be a big question mark, though, after 20 laps.
That is going to be a big question mark. And so Schultz really, with kind of that unknown territory, trying to get as much of a gap as he can, but the rest of the field's not letting him get anywhere. Jake Gagne goes by the stripe at a 1:23.834. That's a new race lap record here at VIR in the HONOS Superbike class for Gagne.
I mean, that's an amazing first lap, Greg. First flying lap, that is. And you can see, if you remember last year, we made a lot of comments during the races about how unsettled the bike looked. It looked like Jake was overriding the bike a fair bit. The bike is so much more stabilized underneath it. And talking with him a little bit in Atlanta, or Coda actually, at the test, he's like, I'm just trying to calm down on the bike a little bit. I'm trying to let the bike do a little bit more of the work. And you can see what it equals is a lot of speed. To go 23.834 is so incredibly fast. Matthew Skoltz, with those changes that Jamie talks about that they tried to make to see if they're getting better, Matthew runs 24 flat, and if he can just kind of keep Gagne in sight for these first 3 or 4 laps when the pace is as hot as it looks, that's going to be impressive from the Westby right now. Josh Herron has fallen back into the clutches of Cam Peterson. Cam's in the draft trying to go past this Yamaha as they come across start-finish line. See if Cam's got enough to go up underneath him. Herron late on the brakes, as you can see, Greg, as they go off into turn 1. But Josh has lost a little bit of time now on Bobby Fong, who's got his sights set on the 2 guys in front of him.
Yeah, Jason, and up the road is Bobby Fong by about 1.3 seconds from this battle. So Herron, Cam Peterson, and we expect to see Loris Baz start to charge as the fuel load starts to drop. They really work on getting that motorcycle dialed in a way that has Baz go the distance of the race.
Yeah, and you got to think, Loris Baz right now just needs to get points put on the board and get his 2021 campaign really started here in MotoAmerica. He had some bad luck there down at Road Atlanta, obviously tipping off in the first, looked like having a linkage break in the second, so he walked out of there with no points. Now he's running 6. He's got a couple guys that he's got to get past, but more importantly, he's got to get all these laps in, get some points on the board, learn from today. Long season ahead of us still.
So this battle is ripping for 4th spot, but up the road a piece is Bobby Fong, who's trying to chase down 2nd place, Hannah.
Greg, fun fact, in 2010, Bobby Fong actually got his first ever pro win on a Ducati 848 here, and it was a photo finish, really close finish. He got a 3rd here in 2017 on a Superstock 1000 bike within the Superbike field. So he's hoping to continue some of that good luck and that success here, but yesterday they cracked a swing arm, so they have a new swing arm on it today, and Bobby feels it's a bit different. So they've really been working on fine-tuning those settings to help get it more comfortable. Right now, he said he doesn't have a lot of confidence on that front end feel either. They're working on edge grip, but his main goal for this race was really to try to stay up front, and so far so good.
Yeah, when you hear Bobby talk, even it's at Road Atlanta, when he had that problem in the second race where he crept on the line and he had to do a stop and go, he came in and said, look, I got 5th place, I got those points. Even when he finished 2nd, he said, I was thinking about those 20 points early. He's in for the long haul, even though we know how fast he is, and he's so good at grounding out those middle part of the race laps.
Look at Bobby Fong's M4X Star Suzuki, Jason. I saw in the transition, it looks like the left side of the bike, there was just something flapping around. Maybe it was just some body work moving around there. It doesn't look like anything.
Looks okay, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely looks okay. But, Jay, we talk a lot about the difference between mechanical grip and, of course, Bobby's in there deep.
He's in there deep and gets the thing backed in a little bit.
And that's part of that front-end feel and mechanical grip. But it's all about getting that grip here at VIR. And there's Loris Baz making moves. So Cam Peterson gets taken a spot by Loris Baz. And this is what the team is talking about with Baz, Jason. He likes to go out in the first session when he's here. Because remember, he's been to some of these tracks on a street bike. But when Loris Baz gets here, he uses the entire first session to test. Never changes anything, no matter what the bike condition is. Meaning if they're far off on gearing or whatever, he just goes out and rides. And it's a strategy they're going to use all year long for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entry.
It was interesting hearing him say that the drop-off in the tire is actually worse here than it is in Atlanta, but you can see how much his bike is spinning up already, and what are we in? Just sort of like the 4th lap, sixth lap now, I guess we're started. But the bike is moving around quite a bit. When, again, out watching him, Loris is just so pinpoint hitting his spots, especially where he tips in and things. I noticed that a lot, and you can see he's having a look up underneath Herron. These 3 riders are in the 25s, where the first 3 guys are all doing 24. So Loris is going to want to try to do something here with Herron rather quickly to still try to get these last 14.5 laps where he can try to get closer to those first 3 guys, because they're disappearing out in the distance. Now, there's some 3 seconds back from 3rd place Bobby Fong, but getting back to it, as I was watching him do the laps more and more and more, the bike has a tendency to spin up, and then it's a very sharp almost looks like the bike's really stiff to me, Greg, anyways, and the thing starts bouncing back off the curbings really sharply on him. And even the last corner there, he didn't quite get off there. That's going to allow Cam Peterson to get up underneath him. Not quite, but it just looks like some of the exit he gives up a little bit.
For Loris Baz, the other thing he's dealing with, Jason, is that Ducati was really developed around a different tire manufacturer as well as the electronics. So at the beginning stages of this race, when it's heavy, when it has the full fuel load on it, it doesn't work as well as it does at the end of the race. The team is able to dial in those electronics a little bit, and by the end of the season, they expect to have something that they can really fight with. But it's going to take time. It's going to take race after race and really get that experience to make it work around the Dunlop tire.
And Jamie, as far as those electronic changes go for this specific tire manufacturer, the team told me they made some big changes to the electronics from yesterday. They also made changes to the shocks, forks, and gearing. And back to what Greg was saying, you know, they were using the Atlanta base setup when they first arrived here yesterday, and it wasn't really working for this track. But they found something significant, and it showed this morning. So it's just a matter of making progress and building on that.
Yeah, and Loris Baz just made some progress, got around Josh Herron, the number 2. So now we're going to see what Baz has as his comfort level, as he likes to slide it coming down the hill. But see what his comfort level is as the fuel load starts to drop and those Dunlops start to move around a little more. And really what, you know, Jamie was talking about was this bike was ultimately designed, we're talking about Loris Baz and his Ducati, for the World Superbike Series, which runs a different tire manufacturer that is significantly softer in the carcass construction. So when you come here to the U.S.-built Dunlop tires, and they're a lot stiffer construction, there are a lot of things that can translate through the chassis, through the suspension. And so this team, Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York team, are learning how to get this bike as Baz deep into turn number 1. Now makes a mistake, leaves the door open, and there goes Herron around again.
Yeah, but those are like the little things that I noticed where the bike just wants to run wide on him. And when you hear them say, we made a few changes, shocks, forks, and gearing is a lot of big changes that they did find some speed this morning. Seeing Loris get down into those 23s was very encouraging. And really the thing that's hurt him here the most is just the start. He just didn't get the start he wants. Now let's see if he's able to get back up underneath Herron again, where he did it a lap ago. He's having another look, Greg, and he's going to make that pass go again. But and you see Cam gets in there a little bit
he got
wide,
sucked in
and
there.
he gives Bobby Fong looks like he's
looks like he's got problems. So Bobby Fong was only 0.7 of a second behind Matthew Skoltz in 3rd spot, but now the M4 X-Star Suzuki rider Fong with an issue, and he drops back to the battles going on with those stock 1000 machines.
You said you saw something hanging off a couple of laps ago, Greg. I'm wondering if something has gone wrong. Is he able to shift the bike right now? It looks like he is, but this is going to put Baz and Herron and Peterson in that battle for 3rd now.
Wow, so that's going to, so Jake Gagne just came across the stripe, completing his 8th lap. Matthew Skoltz now is 3.3 seconds back, and then Baz is going to find himself, actually Josh Herron's going to find himself in 3rd. Baz, Cam Peterson, Hector Barbera moves up, Kyle Wyman in 7th spot as Fong continues to shoot down the order.
Whatever's going on here, we know that Baz got by Herron, and then next thing you know, Herron is back past, so we didn't get to see where that was or where that had happened. We were focusing a little bit on Bobby Fong, looking to see if he might be coming down pit lane, Greg. Can't tell right now. It looks he did go through, so Bobby Fong stayed out on track, went through in 12th. This battle continues to rage.
Yeah, now all of a sudden the battle for 4th becomes a battle for the final spot on the podium, as Josh Herron trying to continue his streak of 3rd place finishes. So Josh Herron, the number 2, the former HONOS Superbike champ on the Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha, trying to hold off the advancements of number 76, Loris Baz from France on that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York. And then Cam Peterson, who a lot of us kind of say, is he a class rookie? No, he's been in the class before, but his first time on this level of equipment on the M4 X-Star Suzuki. Cam Peterson continuing to work with his team. Really, the only time he got on this full-blown Suzuki GSX-R 1000 Superbike was at the COTA test. Then he has rode Atlanta, so they're working on getting away from this motorcycle, which had a lot of influence in it from Tony Elias.
Yeah, Cam Peterson goes by, and now Baz is taking a shot at Cam Peterson. Is he going to be able to get the bike turn? Cam closes the door on him, and Cam makes that pass stick. So something's obviously going on with Baz out of that last corner that we didn't get to see that time again. But Herron and Cam both were able to get back by him, and it looks like it's in that last sector, Greg, where they're able to do it.
Yeah, very interesting. Different parts of this racetrack, different sectors. Oh, Jay, look, we have Bobby Fong running off the track, and yeah, he's looking down at that left side of his bike.
It's turn 4 area. So looks like the bike's still running. He's having a look at it. He stayed out, Greg, this last lap through 27.1 for Bobby Fong. So he's about 2 seconds off what the lead guys are doing. Mind you, he's kind of probably in the pack of Superbike Cup guys that we see back there. But now these two guys have gotten through on the Ducati of Loris Baz and going forward. Now Cam to me looks like he's got the pace. If he can kind of roll through and get by Josh Herron here. He's been watching these two guys in front of him the whole time, just kind of battling each other.
Yeah, for Cam Peterson, our Stock 1000 national champion from last season, getting the call up to come to the M4X Star Suzuki HONOS Superbike team. He has shown a lot of pace early on, considering how many laps he actually has done on this motorcycle. Now battling with a guy who has 8 Superbike race wins to his career, Josh Herron.
Oh, Cam's in a little bit deep and wide this time. That's going to allow Baz to sneak up underneath him. And it's so easy, Greg, when you draft and you kind of start braking at the same place the guy in front of you does. You lose kind of feel of how you brake into there when you follow somebody in, and that person in front of you starts pulling the brake lever on harder, and you have to go to the left. And that's what you saw him do there. He moved over to the left, ends up running just a little bit wide there.
Cam Peterson with a bit of a mistake now to do all over again. And neither one of these guys. Now, how about this, Jason? Middle part of your screen. This is Jake Gagne, number 32, our race leader.
Kind of forgot about him, didn't we?
We did.
He's up there 3.6 seconds in front. This is going to be coming up out of turn 7.
Motocross skills from Jake Gagne right there. Wow, so he's pushing really hard, and that bike got a little out of shape when the tires started to spin.
Thank goodness for electronics, right?
Thank goodness for and motocross skills.
Absolutely.
And that's Gagne, so active on the foot pegs. Really uses a lot of his body to control the motorcycle. But Gagne, undeterred still with a 3.6 second lead over Matthew Skultz. There's a look at our Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha leader, Jake Gagne, who's credited with the fastest lap of the race on lap 2 with a full fuel load and new tires, 123.834. He's backed it down a little bit, Jason. Last time by a 124.7.
Yeah, 24.7, but he's the only guy doing it. He's 24.7 and some over half a second quicker. So he's opened his gap to 4.2, and he's going to be watching his pit board pretty carefully now. As you can see, he's got a nice little gap over Matthew Skultz, who in turn has a nice little gap over Herring. Looking on our screen here, Cam Peterson has gone back through on Loris Baz. So those guys just continue to go back and forth. This is the spot just a few laps ago where we saw Jake get a little bit sideways on the exit. It goes a little bit off camber there. You drive it in there and it goes up a hill, so you have kind of a little bit of positive camber. As you get to the top, bike gets really loose and light, and if you're still on the edge of the tire, that's where you start to see it spin up. And you can see here's Josh Herron, and Baz has gone back through on Cam Peterson now. So these guys just keep going back and forth, G-Dub.
Yeah, they definitely do. And, you know, we had to look at Matthew Skultz there, and, of course, he's on that super soft front tire. And so now the question becomes, looking really closely at lap times, the pace of Josh Herron and Loris Baz, if they can make any inroads on the second-place rider, Matthew Skultz. So far, for the moment, Skultz has been in the last lap about 0.6 of a second quicker than Josh Herron. Now, Josh has got to keep his eyes forward, no question about it, but Loris Baz is trying to find a way to get himself on the podium after a disastrous first round of the MotoAmerica Championship, with all the hype around Loris Baz coming here as a world caliber rider. And I think you can see how Loris Baz is stacking up here in the MotoAmerica Series, especially with the talent of Jake Gagne, Matthew Skultz being here as this team continues, the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York team, to develop this Ducati around these American-made Dunlop tires. And so far, Jason, Loris has showed tremendous speed on tracks that he has not been able to see on his Superbike.
Yeah, and it just seems that this Loris just a little bit off, and his team's going to be watching this as well. They're going to come in and ask him a lot of questions and about the the things that we're seeing as well. The bike just never really looks completely planted underneath him sometimes, and that's got to be hurting him. But like you said, they're still developing things on this Ducati. They'll make it better as the year goes. Important thing right now, he's got to just be focused on. He saw Bobby Fong on the edge of the racetrack. There's third place points still at hand here, and no matter what has been happening, Loris keeps fighting back. As you can see, runs runs a little bit wide there at the middle of turn 14 before they start coming down this big steep hill, turn 10 rather, before they come down this big steep hill. And that's going to make it a little bit harder now for him to get close enough to get by Josh Herrin as they come down the front straightaway. But he keeps fighting back on these guys. You can see Cam had lost some time, and now he's got himself back in the mix just off the back of Loris Baz. Maybe try to do something down in turn 1. Look at Baz just staying to the right side there to try to thwart any effort that Peterson might have had.
So Josh Herrin, it's a lot of pressure from Baz, and this has been an absolutely spectacular race. It's been riddled with little mistakes here and there by each of these riders. But the pace continues to be one that's going to see one of these riders stand on the podium. As Gagne is now 5.4 seconds ahead of Matthew Skoltz. So Skoltz now about 1/10 of a second slower than Josh Herrin went last time by. Laps are running down though, Jason. We have about 6.5 to go in race number 1 of the HONOS Superbike class. As we take a look towards the back of the field there for a moment. But Josh Herrin still, as the gap is closed. Now here is Loris Baz, Hannah.
Well, Greg, for Josh Herrin, he said he really wanted to be there at the end when this was all said and done. He wants to finish on the podium when everyone's healthy, when everyone's bikes are working to the best of their abilities. For him today, they finally got the bike to a place where he's really comfortable. They added a lot of traction control to help with his confidence getting back on that throttle. He doesn't mind the rear sliding around so much, especially when this track is slick conditions and it's so hot here. But he said the security of hearing that traction control when he's pushing hard like this gives him a lot of confidence in his motorcycle.
Hearing that traction control. That's how tuned in they are, Jason. I know
absolutely.
You're a rider who raced your entire career without earplugs. Was that critical of hearing that bike?
For me, it was. Obviously, we didn't have TC back then, Greg, so I wasn't getting the option of really listening to too many electronics, but you definitely will be able to hear that a lot more. And you can see, did you see how hard Cam Peterson can get out of that last corner compared to the Ducati? So, you know, that's the biggest concern right now for Loris, I think, is that last corner. Because what it does is it makes it really hard for him to get near these guys going down into turn 1. So, when it comes to electronics and stuff, Greg, I like hearing my bike. That's why I never wore earplugs. Anytime I did, it just muffled it too much for me.
Yeah, but let's talk about the racetrack itself, because here at VIRginia International Raceway, we've been coming here since, what, 2001? Mm-hmm. And that final section is a section that takes some time to learn to get that line dialed in. Is it not true? Like, you have guys like Josh Hayes who mastered that section. As we take a look back at Hector Barbera. So the Scheibe Racing BMW, this rider came in this season. He's learning all these tracks for the first time, having a good time. Great to have his talent now circulating in 6th place, about 4.8 seconds back behind that battle for 3rd spot.
And now something big happened because Baz got by Herrin and Cam Peterson got by Herrin as well. So I got to think that something up at the top of turn 10 there happened. And look at Cam Peterson's drive, Greg. Look at, as they come onto that straightaway, he's able to drive right past that Ducati. Now Cam Peterson's going to get a shot at leading these guys down into turn 1. Baz is going to go up underneath him, though. Can Cam turn it back up underneath him?
So Peterson, no, he's stuck on the outside. So Baz was able to get it stopped and get that inside line to block the position. As Peterson getting off that last corner, there's some line that Cam Peterson has that is allowing him to open up that throttle. But Baz now is starting to boogie.
Well, we'll see how that works. But I think that when you start talking about how many laps these guys have and getting out of that last corner and how many times it takes, Baz by probably the 6th lap here had a good grasp on what's going on. I just feel like there's just something slightly missing. And here you go. Baz went up underneath Herrin. That's going to open up the door for Cam. So he just was basically, moved Josh Herrin out of the way a little bit enough to make it. And you can see here now they've got it behind Jeffrey Perk as they get in the S's. And this is that horrible spot of trying to go by people, Greg, because it's fairly one line. And you can see what's happened now. That's opened up that gap, and now Herrin's trying to get by as well. But that's opened up these little gaps. Now we'll see if Cam can close that gap back down to Baz.
Yeah, so now Josh Herrin's got a lot of work to do. Difficult section to catch lap traffic. So now Herrin's moved back. So it's Gagne who's come across the stripe with 4 laps to go. Skoltz now 7.8 seconds back. And then Loris Baz in 3rd spot.
It was at this point in the races at Road Atlanta that Cameron Peterson realized how out of riding shape he actually was. So in the time in between the two events, he rode his motocross bike all but 2 days, and he really struggled with that his physical self at the end of the race, but he feels much better about it now. He also feels better about his Suzuki. He said the bike feels like it's about 80% his right now. Where at Road Atlanta, it only felt like it was about 70%.
It's a great point, Hannah. When you get on with a new bike on a new team, yeah, he rode a GSX-R 1000 last year, but it was in super stock trim. Coming into that first race with the injury that he had definitely didn't make things easier for him. Talking to him just before the start of the race, he told me, he said, Jay, the foot feels great. It's just a matter of spinning laps, doing laps, and that's what he's doing. If you remember, Greg, not that long ago, some 3-4 years ago, we saw him in Superbike making a lot of mistakes, doing a lot of little things that would leave us scratching our heads. He's matured as a rider. Had a great chat with his dad yesterday, Robbie Peterson, tremendous racer in his own right, and he had a lot of really good things to say about what Cam's been doing and what he's been up to and the grind that he's been putting in to get himself back to this position. Now he's got a podium in sight after 2 fourth-place finishes, and what he actually told me, Greg, he says, Jason, I was so embarrassed in Atlanta that my fitness wasn't where it needed to be, but look Greg, the drive again just rides right past Baz. Now, he's got to get himself and move over to the right now and make it to where Baz doesn't have that gap to close down and go up underneath him like you see it happening.
So again, Baz has on the brakes, and he's able to get position, and Cam Peterson gets pushed wide with Baz with a hand in the air saying, I made a mistake.
Yep, and you know what? Baz is going to do that, because if you're going to leave that door wide open, somebody's going to come through. What Cam's got to do is take advantage of what he has, the ability to go by that Ducati down the straightaway out of that last corner. I mean, Greg, we got 3 to go. It's every man for himself. I would have loved to have seen Cam just move back over to the right once he makes that pass and make it to where somebody's got to go around the outside of you down in that corner, not keep that gap open to where they can go up underneath you.
So the 45 M4XR Suzuki rider Cam Peterson has it all to do again to try to close the gap on Loris Baz. It doesn't seem that troubling that he's got this gap right now, because it's that final series of corners that Cam Peterson, if you watch the attitude of the bike, it's like Baz gets it stood up, but the bike's not driving. Peterson's still on the edge, and he's able to make up so many bike lengths and pass.
What you think about what Loris is doing right now, he's just in full battle mode. He's apologizing once he passes people, because it doesn't, look, to me, it's not rough at all. He's taking what he's given right now, and you're going to see that 45 again on the exit of this corner. Let's see if he's able to close up, but he's not going to be close enough to go past this lap, or is he? Look at Baz. See, Baz was going to say, you can go down around the outside of me if you can make that pass work, which he did. Pass now made. Cam's got to move over to the right, which he's doing, but Baz is going to go even tighter, Greg.
Oh, and Cam Peterson can hear the grunt of that Ducati. So Peterson again loses position on the inside, and now Josh Herron's right there as well, trying to sneak up the inside. These guys going all over the racetrack, trying to find some daylight. Herron has to check up as Peterson rolling through turn number 3, heading to turn number 4.
And look at Herron. He's going to take a shot up underneath Cam too.
Wow, so there goes Josh Herron with the door open. Cam Peterson getting roughed up right now. And he is just learning from these Superbike veterans. Peterson, a little bit of movement on that rear end. Boy, look how far the gap is all of a sudden from Baz to Peterson.
But he's going to learn from this, is Cam. He's going to learn from this, and he's going to understand. And I'm sure Josh Hayes is going to have a chat with him about this as well, who's been helping Cam out the last couple of years. And he's going to actually have a discussion with Cam Peterson about, hey, we had an opportunity to get third here today, and with 2 or 3, 4 laps left, we might have been able to do a couple things a little bit different. Let's learn from it and push on tomorrow.
Yeah,
but what this has done, Greg, look at Herron. Like you say, as we get the white flag lap, this has allowed Herron to get right back in that battle for third, and you know he's going to take a shot.
Masterclass from Jake Gagne, 25.6. He's backed it down to, and he has got quite a gap back to number 11, Matthew Skoltz. Still working on the setup of that motorcycle is Skoltz and his Westby Racing team. They'll take this data. It's not over yet, but look at the lap progression for Jake Gagne.
Yeah, and Jake Gagne just ran a perfect race, Greg. I mean, he got out front early, put down those 24s as quickly as he could, and he has just been long gone and sailing. He's 9.6 seconds out front. We came into the season thinking there's probably going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 different winners. This guy's got a whole nother idea about that. He saw his teammate, Greg, last year winning all the races that he possibly, I mean, I can't remember how many Cam won last year.
16.
And when you come to the track as kind of the second rider, Cam Beaubier that is, when you start seeing things and you see what Cam Beaubier did, he learned from it. He learned from it. He's fast right out of the box on these race weekends. And here's the battle for third. It looked like Herron went up underneath Baz up in the turn 10 area. So these guys have now swapped. I said Herron was going to take a shot. Now, will Baz do the same as they go through here? He's not going to be close enough. Herron gets a really nice drive out of that area there, and I don't think Baz is going to be able to get through on him.
Yeah, this is the thing. If Cam Peterson can get close enough, if Baz is close enough to Josh Herron, I think Peterson has a shot at it. But this guy right here, Jake Gagne, coming across the line, taking the checkered flag and the win, his second in a row. And now coming to the stripe, is it going to be a bookend for Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha? Matthew Skoltz in second place, and Josh Herron will take third.
And Cam Peterson, I think, snuck under Baz. I'm not sure, though.
Nope, 6 thousandths of a second for Loris Baz in fourth place over Cam Peterson, and points for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entry.
A little bit further back, Greg, looks like Jason Uribe battling with Jake Lewis. Jake Lewis, part of the Superbike Cup portion of our race, and it looks like he's been battling with Uribe the whole time, and he's going to come up a little short as Uribe will be 8th. Jake Lewis is going to be 9th. And you can see just in the background there, it looks like Travis Wyman is going to round out our top 10.
So Travis Wyman in the books, as well as Corey Alexander, will be 11th. Bobby Fong with a motorcycle. We don't know what happened, but ailing at some point, got it sorted out, ran off the track. Bobby Fong will score 12th place points. All right, we'll step away. When we come back, we want to hear from Jake Gagne about his mistake-free race, because it was spectacular.
Wow. Wow, if you're Jake Gagne, because you just dominated that race by over 11 seconds. Gagne with a back-to-back victory. Skoltzy in second on the 11, the Westby entry. But Josh Herron, how about that race for third? Wasn't much going on up at the front, Roger Hayden, but that race for third, that was a good one.
Oh, that was a dog scrap, man. Just the whole last 5 or 6 laps, just the way they were going back and forth. And whatever it was, Loris Baz was really struggling out of that last corner. You know, it almost...
I talked to him, remember, I heard them talking about it, and he said something about I don't have power, and I heard straight away when he came into his crew. That's something that the electronics can govern. We know that. You know that. You did the track lap on the Ducati. You know that bike has power. It shouldn't be underpowered unless the electronics are maybe keeping it from doing it.
Just to be able to pass him so soon on the straightaway just seems a little weird to me, because that's what the Ducati's known for, is its top speed. And yes, Cam Peterson gets a great run out of the last corner, but some just didn't look right. But what a ride by Cam Peterson, you know, for him being a battle for the podium on his third race on the M4 Suzuki. So
let's take a look at it. Cam Peterson on the 45, Loris Baz on the 76, and Josh Herron sneaking in there on the 2. But really, Cam Peterson kept making these passes, and Baz kept running in underneath.
And he's trying to block. You know, you can see he's already on the inside, so Baz can't get by him, and now this lets Herron sneak in the picture.
Herron looked like he was out of the picture, but and that happened not once,
and look
but
at
twice.
Herron, he tries to pass on the inside there, and then he realized it didn't have it.
But then he squares it up on the outside, and you already called it. Your point to say he's going to run it in, and sure enough, he did. I mean, that was textbook. But unfortunately for Cam Peterson, I think he was the fastest of those 3, and he's going to finish at the back end of those 3.
Just if he could just get in front and get away from that first turn and be in the lead, I think he could have pulled away. And I mean, he did everything he could. He tried to block. He got on the inside of the track, and but he should be happy with that. That was a good ride for him and something to build on, and he's going to learn a lot from it.
You always, you'll tap me and you go, watch this. Herron's going to run it in there. He did. He ran it in there for another podium finish. Again, Josh Herron, 16 points. 3 times in a row now. That is third place. But Jake Gagne going back-to-back. And although Matt Skoltz increases his championship points lead, that's because, you know, Jake Gagne was in such a deficit, was 20 points behind. Skoltz increases his points lead, but a 5-point max, 5-point gain for Jake Gagne over Skoltz.
And Jake just looked like he was on another planet in that race, to be honest. I mean, he was just
early.
Pulled away. The very first lap was really quick, just like he did in the practice sessions, just getting up to speed really quick and just pulled away. And you know, even though when he had a big lead, he just kept stretching it out. So he rode a great race, and all these other guys will do their homework tonight with their crews and try to sit down and look at the data and see where they get to, like Matthew Skoltz, he get to get out there and ride with Jake. He knows now where Jake's faster than him, and he can work on those areas overnight and try to be a little closer tomorrow.
Want to remind those fans, don't start bailing. We still have 2 more races to go, the Twins Cup as well as the SportBikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race. But look at that podium. 3 Yamahas on top, a Ducati and a Suzuki rounding out the top 5. But it's once again Jake Gagne, and we send it down trackside and get ready for our interviews.
Today's Superbike race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back at Winter Circle here at VIR, as you can see, Matthew Skoltz and his Weston team have parked their bike in the 2nd spot with Jake Gagne in that fresh and lean Attack Performance Yamaha. What a performance, led the way, got the start, and just checked out Jason, 11 seconds the win. And then Josh Herron, another podium for him. Loris Baz scoring some points with Camp Peterson. What a great battle we had for 3rd spot. Then Barbara, Wyman, Uribe, and Lewis. We saw that. Let's get right down to Hannah with our winner.
Career victory for Jake Gagne and his 2nd in a row. Oh, he's just getting finished up here. Jake, take us through those first couple of laps. How were you able to get out front so early, and how do you feel about winning by such a large margin of victory?
Yeah, that was a heck of a race, man. We all knew it was hot today. These tires would be tough. These Dunlops held up so well for how hot this track is right now. And yeah, I just wanted to go off to a clean start, and I managed probably one of my better starts ever on this bike. And I didn't see anybody come by in turn 1, so I thought that was a good opportunity to try to just put my head down. I knew I didn't want to try to work these tires too much from the beginning. I just wanted to put myself at a nice, consistent pace and click them off. And yeah, a couple laps in, I was just kind of watching my pit board, and we were just inching away, and just didn't let up. So hats off to the fresh and lean Attack Performance Yamaha R1, Yamaha Financial Services, Yamalube, Alkrapovic Braking, HHR, Carbonin, NGK, DID, Track Day, Zero Gravity, Dunlop, Color Zone, Arai, Alpine Stars. Thank you, everybody. And thanks to all the fans out here. We got another great turnout, so we'll give them hell tomorrow again.
Okay, guys.
That's one pump Jake Gagne.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really hard to beat for all season. I mean, look, this guy's come in, Greg, and you've talked about how even in his personal life, he's super happy with things. He's made a big move to Durango, Colorado. I spoke with him about that in the airport after Atlanta. And he's just in a good place right now, and he's on the best team he feels that he can be on. And it's showing right now. A lot of confidence and just rolling through these first 3 races.
And let's get right down to Jamie Howe with 2nd place.
And it's Matthew Skoltz for the 3rd race in a row now with the podium result to kick off the 2021 season. Matthew, there were some big changes made. You made the decision on the super soft tire for the race today. When these decisions turn into a result, what does that do to your confidence?
I mean, I think that it definitely helped out on the first couple laps, and I was trying to hang on to Jake. We could kind of see from the practice sessions that he had a really strong pace. But, I think that the softer front definitely helped with the turning, and it helped in the first couple laps to kind of hang on to Jake. But the last 7 or 8 laps from there, it was just survival. I was catching it on my knee in almost every single right-hand corner. But, to take 2nd isn't bad. I'm pretty happy with that. But to be that far behind Jake, we definitely have to go and work on a couple things. At least I was able to kind of see where we were losing time. So yeah, just a big thank you to the Westby Racing team, Spitty and Bell Helmets. They're a really awesome bunch of guys and keep me going, and just looking forward to race 2 and trying to kind of hang on to Jake and maybe at least pass him on the first couple laps and try to make a little bit of a race out of it.
Congratulations on the 2nd place finish. Let's go to Hannah with 3rd.
Jamie, this makes Josh Herron's third place of the season, but this one was hard fought and caught right at the line. Josh, where did you find that extra strength and motivation from right at the end there?
I just dug deep down, man. That was super deep. I got to thank my trainer, Joe, back home for making me grind on these mountain bike rides lately, on these intervals. I kind of just thought about that when I was there. This one's for sure goes out to the whole Hayden family. Today's the anniversary of Nikki's death. I looked up the entire Hayden family my whole life, and just love the hell out of that whole family. So this one goes out to him. I got in trouble at the last race for not remembering my sponsors, so I figured I'd bring them up here. If you guys want to, you can pause the screen. take a look at them. We got to thank Fresh and Lean, Attack, Yamaha, Yamalube, Yamaha Financial Services. Hey, I got to do it. It's all part of it. They're the reason why we're here. Akrapovic, Braking, Hustle Hard Racing, Carbonin, Suter, NGK, DID, Track Days, even though I don't like Dustin, the owner, Zero Gravity, Dunlop, VP, Color Zone, Arai, Alpine Stars, Black Claw, everybody, all the fans. I love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you to my team. And yeah, try again tomorrow. Congrats to Jake, and good ride to Loris and Cam. We fought it out hard, and can't wait for tomorrow.
Josh Herron, everyone. It truly takes a village to get these riders to the podium, that's for sure.
Oh, he likes Dustin. Don't even play Josh Herron. We'll be back to VIR after this.